Hey everyone, we didn't expect to make another video about this drama, but Azure dragged this drama way too far, so we made another video about it. This is part 2 of the ongoing situation between Jazmin Bean fans and Azure Sprites. If you haven't seen part 1 yet, I highly recommend checking it out for full context. But if you can't, here's a quick recap. A person called Azure Sprites began obsessively copying everything Jazmin does, literally everything. And while copying alone isn't the worst thing, this situation went way much further. Azure didn't just copy. They repeated and recreated literally everything Jazmin did, from music and acting to aesthetics and behavior. If Jazmin did something, Azure would follow instantly after with the same thing. But it didn't stop there. The obsession escalated when Azure started stealing Jazmin's unreleased music without credit or any permission, never clarifying that it was a cover. They only said cover after the video was released. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. They also recreated Jazmin's photos from some of their lowest moments, along with many other disturbing, troubling, and problematic actions that got them canceled, which we'll go over again later in this video. And when Jazmin fans called Azure out, instead of taking accountability, Azure responded by accusing people of being racist, stalking, or obsessed claims that had nothing to do with what was actually being. Let me continue the story what happened after the first video was posted. After the first video was posted, Azure saw it the next day and immediately began spamming the comments, once again calling everyone obsessed and repeating the same recycled accusations. Shortly after, they posted on their story claiming they were quitting that only lasted a day and unfollowed Jazmin in an attempt to erase the trail. Not long after, Azure made a YouTube community post where they once again played the victim, claiming they were leaving the fandom and ending it with a disrespectful remark. All of this was framed as if Jazmin's fans were the villains, when in reality, the video was made to document the behavior and help keep the fandom safe. The next day, Azure began spamming the comments from alternate accounts, sending threats, demanding the post be removed and claiming it was full of lies. Soon after, people believed to be their friends or family joined in with spamming, repeating the same accusations, saying it's racism, bullying, and harassment when it's not, even sending threats. This is why some comments were eventually deleted, and it was clearly stated, by us and the uploader in the description, that the uploader had nothing to do with creating the video, and only helped by uploading it to bring awareness to the drama. Despite this, Azure and others continued to attack the uploader anyway. Azure made another post, repeating the same points from their story, claiming they wanted to become something better than inspiration. It came across as funny and ironic, especially since they still refused to admit it was copying, and copying wasn't even the main reason they were called out. They avoided addressing the more disturbing actions and continued framing themselves as the victim instead of taking accountability. Azure then kept pushing the same narrative on their story, repeatedly tagging Jazmin for no reason. They even posted that Jazmin had seen their story, saying they're probably tired of this too, when in reality, Jazmin is likely just tired of getting tagged every time and get dragged into drama they were never involved in. Azure claimed that no one ever gets called out for inspiration, but this situation was never about inspiration. It was literally about copying, and copying wasn't even the only reason they were called out. Azure was called out for copying everything Jazmin did, stealing songs without ever stating they were covers, recreating Jazmin's photos from their lowest moments, and crossing multiple boundaries they never should have crossed. On top of that, they engaged in disturbing and behavior that went far beyond what's acceptable. In the next story, which we won't be showing, Azure reposted people that they know and claimed many of them were also inspired by Jazmin. However, those examples don't compare at all to what Azure did, and they don't reflect the same level of copying, theft, or inappropriate behavior that led to this callout. To explain even more, one of Azure's friend, their name won't be mentioned, was someone we even followed, and who looked almost exactly like Jazmin, yet they were never accused of anything because they didn't cross those lines. The difference is simple. Azure copied and mimicked Jazmin directly, stole songs, recreated Jazmin's pictures in their lowest moments, even more things that they shouldn't, and engaged in behavior that went far beyond what's acceptable. That is why they were called out, and these actions will be addressed again later in the video. They then called posting a 10-minute video the dumbest shit, saying it's immature and sickening, even though the video was addressing their own documented behavior. Again, they played the victim. In another story, Azure claimed that Jazmin wasn't their inspiration, but this still isn't about inspiration. Azure repeatedly used the word inspiration, but the issue goes way beyond that. They have recreated Jazmin's work one, including photos from their lowest moments, and engaged in repeated problematic behavior. Instead of addressing this, Azure deflected by calling it racism, even though it has been clearly explained that it was never about racism. Years later, after denying it, Azure finally admitted to copying, trying to excuse it by saying it happened when they were 16. While that may be true, the copying and the behavior continue. Azure still mimics and steals Jazmin's unreleased work, replicates their actions, and much more, all while claiming the content is old and that everyone has inspirations. This is clearly not about inspiration. Despite repeated explanations, Azure continues the same behavior, tagging Jazmin and framing it as racism, even though it has never been about that. After all of this happened, Azure joined the Jazmin server again and claimed they were going to sue. However, that claim holds no ground, as the video falls under criticism and commentary, not harassment. It contains personal opinions, analysis, and criticism, and everything mentioned was based on publicly available information supported by real evidence. While the old thumbnail may have been bit off and ironic, it's uncomparable to the disturbing actions Azure have done so far. Pointing out documented behavior is not harassment, and criticism does not become illegal simply because it is uncomfortable or unwanted. After all of this, Azure joined the server yet again, something that had already happened too much times, while denying they were Azure, even though it was clearly them. They began making statements that will be shown in the screenshots, sent unsolicited voice messages, engaged in harassment, sending threats, even saying slurs, and even started spam calling random people through DMs.
Join the fucking chat, bitch. The fuck? Ain't fucking playing with you. This is Azure motherfucking Sprites, bitch. I will fucking clock your tea right fucking now. Play with me, bitch. The fuck? Motherfuckers got me fucked up.
Join the motherfucking call, scary asshole.
All you bitches were literally talking shit about me for 4 fucking years, and I have the fucking proof. Y'all bitches are always talking about me saying, oh, you're copying Jazmin Bean. Oh, but you can't say shit, but you want to fucking post a video about me saying, oh, I'm copying Jazmin Bean and saying I'm a fucking pedophile or some fucking shit, and I'm making fake accounts stalking y'all. Bitch, fucking no. No, fucking no, bitch. You got me fucked the fuck up. The fuck?
Like, also, literally, like, y'all can't even join no damn call because y'all scary as fuck.
Pussy ass bitches.
Like, all this is during text, and I'm literally calling you bitches, not even answering. Like, answer the damn shit.
I got the fucking proof. I got the fucking proof. I got the motherfucking receipts, bitch.
Fucking stupid ass hoes.
So y'all want to talk about a fucking drug addiction that's been happening for like 2 years for me that I have stopped, and now y'all want like. How the fuck are you going to say, oh, you've been faking a drug addiction, and then you're going to make fun of me of the fact that I had a drug addiction? How the fuck are you going to do that? You literally made a whole fucking 12-minute video. All you bitches made a 12-minute video of me, posted it, and then go act like you don't fucking know me. Okay, yeah, bitch. Yeah, bitch. When I find you, bitch, I swear to fucking God.
And also, like, why are y'all sitting here trying to say that I had an addiction when I literally didn't?
This is my fucking friend, bitch.
Exactly. Like,
and this bitch is straight. And you gonna call me a faggot and you gonna say I'm using the F slur? Okay. Yeah.
Exactly. And being racist too. Like,
racist ass bitch. The fuck? And I'm perfectly fine with that. The fuck? I love Jazmin Bean and I fucking inspired by them. But y'all fucking ruined it because the fandom is fake as fuck. Y'all are fucking racist and that's why I left.
Literally, there are like multiple white people who sit here and copy her style and like her makeup and everything. But y'all choose to
attack me. Y'all gonna choose to tag me, a black fucking person who's doing makeup just like Jazmin? Go attack somebody else. Go chomp on somebody else's ass, bitch. The fuck?
And I've literally seen multiple white people post the same exact post as Jazmin. So
y'all are fucking obsessed. Y'all are
get
weird.
with the program, honey.
As you've now seen and heard, this is exactly what happened. Azure sent threatening messages and voice notes, harassed people throughout the chat, used slurs, and began spam calling random users through DMs, many of who were never involved in the situation at all. Throughout all of this, they repeated the same accusations, claiming the fandom was racist and more, despite that not being the case. After continued harassment and disruption, Azure was eventually banned again. After this, Azure kept posting nonsense about this on YouTube. But it didn't stop there. Azure continued spamming the video's comments from alternate accounts day after day, once again claiming the fans were obsessed, which still wasn't true. Eventually, they posted a YouTube link on Instagram that was supposed to be an apology video. It turned out to be defense. At first, we thought this might finally be a genuine apology, something that still wouldn't erase what happened, but at least acknowledge it. Instead, the video was once again about playing the victim and spreading misinformation about the fandom. We won't walk through the video because it isn't worth it. The intro relied on flop-talk-style memes, and the rest of the video focused on portraying themselves as the victim, repeating false claims, and avoiding accountability. They only briefly addressed some Jazmin-related accusations, and even then, they misrepresented the situation, while completely ignoring the more serious, problematic allegations. One of the people who helped compile the original rant video even asked in the comments why Azure didn't address recreating Jazmin's vulnerable photos or the allegations involving inappropriate sexual behavior toward a minor. Instead of responding, Azure deleted the comment, which has just made this case even worse. After all of this, Azure still didn't stop. They continued spamming comments and repeatedly ranting about the video on their story, claiming they were being straightforward, which clearly isn't the case. Azure remains problematic and refuses to accept any criticism. At this point, it's embarrassing, especially when, after being called out, they still went ahead and got an almost identical tattoo to Jazmin's. It either shows a complete lack of self-awareness or a desperate need for attention. In another story, Azure said that being called a PDF was crazy, despite there being multiple pieces of evidence that led people to make that accusation, and then saying they are better, which is not the case. Then they followed it up with, "Let's see a pic of each other, and let us all not try to laugh out of embarrassment." That response was bizarre and completely inappropriate. This isn't a fashion show, and these so-called rants are only making things worse. Instead of addressing the serious concerns, Azure keeps digging even more themselves into a deeper hole. After that, Azure once again repeated the same claims, saying people were trying to take them down for no reason, while continuing to ignore the multiple problematic actions they had been called out for. Even after all of this, the situation was still dragged out. Some of Azure's friends, who hadn't even watched the video but commented, joined in to defend them, saying the same thing. And then they also attempted to send a death threat, but instead they said keys without the S.
Keys without the S.
And even then, it still didn't stop. Azure continued, dragging the situation out, despite there being no point in doing so, only making things worse for themselves. They kept posting on Instagram, urging people to report the video, even though the video was not spreading lies. As already explained, the video falls under criticism and commentary, not harassment. It contains personal opinions, analysis, and criticism, and everything mentioned was based on publicly available information supported by evidence. Criticism does not become bullying simply because it is uncomfortable or unwanted. But even after that, Azure still chose to drag the drama further, this time under a completely different video uploaded by the same uploader. They continued claiming people were obsessed and insisting they were doing better and saying they are better, even after the uploader wrote a detailed explanation clarifying why Azure was called out in the first place. Despite this, Azure kept repeating the same claims, which still wasn't true. At this point, it became embarrassing more than anything. Azure also claimed the video was ChatGPT-sourced information, which is simply false. ChatGPT was only referenced in one section, according to ChatGPT, when discussing the allegations. The rest of the video was based on public information, commentary, and documented evidence. Claiming otherwise just shows the video was never properly watched. While Azure continued ranting on Instagram stories and repeatedly rejoining the server just to repeat the same claims, insisting everyone was obsessed. We even tried privately messaging them to ask them to stop, but instead of de-escalating, they responded with a death threat and then blocked us, which has just made it even worse. After this, they still dragged it by posting this, and there are still many other things that happened, but these were the most relevant. We could once again show all the proof where Azure copied and done everything Jazmin did, but that part is already covered in the first video. This video isn't focused on copying anymore. Instead, we're focusing on the more serious and disturbing actions they've taken. That way, it's clear this callout isn't just about copying or racism, which is still a false claim. There are far worse things Azure has done, and those are what we're addressing here. Copying and impersonation, including recreating Jazmin's vulnerable photos from their lowest moments, stealing Jazmin's work, including unreleased material, repeatedly using it without credit, and only claiming it was a cover after being called out, making fun of a car crash, and even mentioning race, while repeatedly accusing the fandom of racism despite being Azure, only one bringing race into the situation. Use of slurs, including repeated instances of inappropriate and offensive language, possible animal cruelty, including claiming to have hit a squirrel and posting images of a dead bird twice, later downplaying it, sexual misconduct involving minors, which is entirely inappropriate and unacceptable, harassment and bullying, including posting people's faces to mock them, sending threats, and repeatedly sexualizing random individuals, sending death threats after being called out, and told to stop dragging the situation further. There's a lot more disturbing and strange behavior we haven't shown here. As we've said, everything else is already covered in the first video. This part only focuses on the most relevant events. To be clear again, this video was never made out of hate, obsession, or harassment. It was made to document behavior, present evidence, and protect a fandom that was being repeatedly dragged into situations it never asked to be part of. Criticism is not bullying. Everything shown here is based on public actions and documented proof. At this point, continuing to deny or deflect doesn't change what happened. It only reinforces why this needed to be addressed in the first place. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. We hope we don't have to make another video and spread this if you can. Have a nice day.